The restaurant was buzzing that evening. Glasses clinked, low conversations filled the air, and the staff moved quickly between tables as customers enjoyed their meals. At the center of it all was a black waitress named Fiona, calmly carrying a tray of wine glasses, her face focused but composed. She had been working nonstop since the doors opened, taking extra tables, helping coworkers, and making sure every guest felt welcomed. But not everyone was watching her with appreciation. Across the room, the manager stood with his arms crossed, eyes locked on Fiona. His impatience had been building all night. Every time she stopped to answer a customer's question or double-check an order, his expression grew darker. Finally, in front of customers and staff, he snapped. He strode toward her and raised his voice. He told her she was too slow, that she was holding up service, that in his restaurant, people who couldn't keep up paid the price. Before Fiona could even respond, he announced that he was fining her for wasting time. Some diners froze mid-bite, others quietly lifted their phones, sensing something wasn't right. Fiona didn't argue. She didn't raise her voice. She simply looked at him, nodded once, and said she understood. That reaction only seemed to fuel him. He mistook her calm for weakness. He lectured her about work ethic, about how easily she could be replaced, about how grateful she should be to even have the job. The room felt uncomfortable. A few guests exchanged looks. One woman shook her head in disbelief. What the manager didn't know was that this moment wasn't going exactly how he thought it was, because Fiona wasn't just a waitress. She had been working there for weeks under an assumed name, observing everything, how customers were treated, how staff were spoken to, how power was used behind closed doors and, apparently, in public. She had taken notes after every shift, quietly documenting patterns of behavior. And tonight, the manager had unknowingly failed the biggest test of his career. After the manager finished his rant, Fiona gently set the tray down. She looked around the room, making sure everyone could hear her next words. Her voice was steady, clear, and confident. She asked him if this was how he normally motivated his staff, if public humiliation and financial punishment were part of his management style. The manager scoffed, telling her she didn't get paid to ask questions. That's when everything changed. Fiona reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. She calmly asked one of the guests if they had been recording. Several people nodded. She thanked them and turned back to the manager. Then she told him she wouldn't be paying any fine. In fact, no employee ever would again. He laughed, thinking she was bluffing, so she told him the truth. She said she was the owner of the restaurant, not a silent investor, not a distant partner. The owner. She explained that she had gone undercover to understand what really happened on the floor when leadership thought no one important was watching. The manager's face drained of color. At first, he tried to deny it. He said it was a joke, that she was lying to save herself. But Fiona calmly showed him the documents on her phone, then made a call on speaker. Moments later, the general manager confirmed it. The room went completely silent. Customers leaned forward in their seats. Staff stood frozen. The manager started stumbling over his words. He apologized. He said he was under pressure. He said he didn't mean it like that. He said he treated everyone the same. But it was too late. His behavior had spoken for him. Not just tonight, but every night Fiona had quietly observed. She reminded him that leadership wasn't about control, but respect. That speed meant nothing if dignity was lost, and that no one deserved to be shamed just to make someone else feel powerful. Then she did what no one expected. She fired him on the spot. Not angrily, not dramatically, calmly, professionally. She thanked him for showing her exactly what needed to change in her business. Security escorted him out as stunned diners broke into applause. Fiona turned to the staff, many of whom looked emotional. She apologized to them for what they had endured and promised things would be different. Better training, better leadership, zero tolerance for humiliation or discrimination. That night, many customers left generous tips. Some stayed just to shake her hand. A story that started with cruelty ended with accountability. And the lesson was clear. You never know who someone really is. Power doesn't come from shouting the loudest, and respect isn't optional, especially when you think no one important is watching. Because sometimes the person you underestimate the most is the one who owns the room.